I getting emotional? Oh my God, this is really roughing it. Heading into walking over to the RPR from the RV park. It's a 10-minute walk. It's very convenient. I'm excited to see my guru, Bob Wells. He's doing a presentation this morning about how to travel to Alaska. I might want to do that one day. I did do a cruise, but it would be a whole different thing to do a road trip there.
Hi everyone, this is my friend Lindra, and she is putting together an amazing event this summer, and she's going to talk to you about it. She was born and raised in Alaska, so she's extremely familiar with it. She's only driven the Alcan 12 times, so she knows it a little bit. So we're going to talk to you about Alaska. So you want to take that one?
Hi everyone. Thank you so much. Based on the kind of bear. On vanstock.org, I have an entire page about bears. So now, what to do if you run into an encounter. The baseline is don't be running. That's kind of the #1 rule. If you see a bear in Alaska, do not run. Do not do any fast movements. Make sure that you're making noise and know that they know that you're there. You make your presence known, but do not run. Most of the bear attacks that happen in Alaska are from trail runners. They're running in the wilderness, having a good time. Maybe they have headphones on and are not aware of their surroundings. And that is when negative things happen.
And so there are people that don't want to go to Alaska because of mosquitoes. And I think mosquitoes are a bit exaggerated. And when I think about my last trip up there, my son flew down to Seattle and I picked him up and we drove up together because he'd never driven it, and just time to spend. I have a son that lives in Alaska, and so we spent time together that way. And we'd stop at one campsite and there wouldn't be a mosquito anywhere. We wouldn't think about it. And we'd stop at another one, not very far, well, maybe 600 miles away because we drove fast. And they'd be everywhere. You couldn't you stepped out of the vehicle and you were swamped with mosquitoes. And so that's become my experience in Alaska. It's hit or miss. It's either really bad or nothing at all.
Well, I'm freezing my patootie off. I just woke up. This is my first morning boondocking. And I'm afraid to turn on the furnace for fear it's going to use up electricity. But I have a feeling I'm going to break down because this is the coldest morning so far that I've spent here. I was fine last night, under the blankets, under my nice warm wool blanket. I have a wool comforter and a down comforter. But when you get up and out of your bed, it's like brrr. Oh, it's so cold. It is really cold. I just checked my digital readout and it said that it's 37 degrees in here. So nearly freezing temps. So this is the coldest morning so far since I've been here, which I think this is been here in the desert since last Saturday. And today is Tuesday, so nearly 10 days. And I have been a bit surprised how cold at night it does get here in the desert. The mornings are pretty uncomfortable, but this, like I said, is the coldest. Usually my readout was saying about 44 degrees, so 37 degrees is quite a difference. In fact, my hand is freezing just having it out of my pocket right now. So, there's definitely a cost. In my mind anyways, to be out here. You're definitely trading comfort and convenience for being out here and boondocking. You know, this past week, because I wanted to ease into the boondocking, I did all hookups for the most part. And for the last, I started out at the RV park in Quartzsite, and I had full hookups, and it was so nice, so easy. I started out, I was just going to do 2 nights, but I ended up extending it to 5 nights because I knew that there was going to be a lot of wind and cold. So I just thought, you know, I want the convenience of being able to turn on my furnace and, you know, have the hookups right there. And so I extended it, and I'm glad I did. So here now, boondocking, this is going to be my first week boondocking. I've got to last a week out here in Quartzsite boondocking. Longest time I will ever have boondocked. And so, you know, it'll be interesting to see, you know, what I learn from it and how it goes. You know, the one thing you have in favor for you out here in the desert is lots of sun, so it seems like your panels should be able to rejuvenate pretty quickly. But when you're boondocking, you suddenly have to, I feel like, for me anyways, I feel like I have to suddenly start thinking about everything I do. Don't use too much water. Don't flush the toilet too much. Don't turn on too many lights. Use your separate lights. Don't turn on the, you know, don't turn on the heater. The only thing I feel like I can use without too much worry is the propane, you know, because it seems to go pretty slowly. I'm sure that after a while, when you do this lifestyle, it all becomes, you know, second nature to you to do all this conservation methods, and you get used to it. But it definitely, you have to just, of course, think about a lot more things and be as conservative as you can be. Anyways, it's just the point I wanted to make is this just definitely, you know, boondocking is not for the faint of heart. I don't know how people are doing it in cars, right? You know, they're not insulated that well. If I'm cold in here, they've got to be even colder in their car. So I just don't understand how people are safely doing that, staying out here in the desert like this. Holy moly, I just put on my bra and yelled out because the bra is so cold. Even the clothing is cold. And putting it on was extremely uncomfortable because my clothes are cold. Oh my God, this is really roughing it. So I stopped the camera and put the window up so that you can see that I am boondocking and where I'm at. I have some people close to me. So I didn't actually ever meet my brother until I was much older in my years. I think I met him for the first time when I was probably about 20 years ago. So I guess I was about 47, in my late 40s. He's my half brother. And so when I told my brother that I bought myself an RV, he said, well, I'm going to be going down to Quartzsite. And I said, well, I'm going to be going down to Quartzsite. We can spend some time together. So we have spent now the longest period of time, because the time I met him before was very brief amounts. I mean, maybe we spent a couple of hours together. So this is the longest time that we've had to spend together. So it's very poignant for me because he's 76 years old. And so it's precious for me to be able to spend this time with him and get to know him, you know. It's kind of bittersweet, I guess you could say, because I am grateful that I get to spend this time with him, but I don't know if I'll get to spend more time with him. Why am I getting emotional? Like yesterday, I was having a hard time, like getting the cap off of my black hose tank, or just the tank hoses. The cap is on there so tight that I'm struggling to get it off, you know. And I had to use a hammer to hammer it off. And my brother, he said, why don't you try putting some Vaseline on there? You know, next time it might make it easier to get it off, you know. So it's so nice to have a second brain to, you know, help me figure some of this stuff out. So, yeah, what happened is my toilet, I had changed, when I bought this thing, the toilet seat was very old. And I decided to get a new one that had a whisper close lid on it. So I installed it myself, but it was loose on the seat. It was extremely, I didn't have the right tools to get up under the lip to tighten the nut, you know, underneath there, because it wasn't the style of toilet seat that you can tighten from the top. You had to tighten it from underneath. So it was a pain in the butt, you know, and I tried to do it with my hand. I tried to do it with pliers. I tried to do it with whatever else I had, and nothing was working. It just kept getting loose. You know, I said, Glenn, do you happen to know what kind of a tool I need? And I showed him a picture of it, and he said, yeah, you're going to need a socket wrench, and I have a socket wrench, and so I will bring that over. Well, I was just expecting him to give it to me, to, you know, let me do the repair. You know, I wasn't expecting him. He's 76 years old, and to get down on his knees and all that to do it, you know, and God bless him, he did. He got down there on his knees. I gave him a knee pad, you know, and he's bending over my toilet and trying to get up under there, and it was ridiculous. He said, this is the most difficult toilet I have ever had to work on. He said, because it's very, the access is horrible. You can't get up in there to it, you know, so you're working blindly. You're trying to get the socket wrench on the nut, and you can't see anything, and you can't even like hardly feel up in there either, and then there's just a lack of room. So it was extremely challenging, and he's working on it, and he's huffing and puffing, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, I don't want him to hurt himself, and I feel bad that he's doing this for me. I just expected he was going to give the wrench to me, you know, but no, he gets in there and he's trying to fix it for me. I mean, how sweet is that, you know? Just so kind. Well, you know, I could tell he was starting to get frustrated because he couldn't get the socket wrench on the nut, you know, and then even when he did, it was just spinning, because we was also trying to figure out what size socket wrench to get, because we couldn't see anything, you know. So, I don't know, after maybe 20 or 30 minutes passed, I don't know how long it was, of him, you know, struggling to try to do it, I said, you know what, why don't I try, Glenn? I can sit inside the shower and maybe access at least the left side, because we had to do the two sides. Maybe I can at least get the left side, you know. So I was able to sit down in my shower and get up in there with my left hand and feel around, and then I could get the socket wrench on there, and I was able to tighten up the nut, and then I had to work on the right side. So I get that all tightened up, and then we realized that the seat was kind of off center. So I said, well, I'm determined. And he said, well, I'm determined too. And I, you know, so I, you know, it was a pain in the butt, but I had to undo the nuts again, and get it straightened up. And we tightened them up again. And sure enough, the darn toilet seat kept moving, and it was off center again. So then it was a freaking nightmare. So then I had to loosen them and straighten it up, and then he had to try to hold the seat while I was working on the nuts, which was kind of a contortion, you know, game. And so finally, after a while, I got it all tightened up with the socket wrench, and now the toilet seat is all nice and tight, you know. So that was success. Bunch of, I don't know what those are, ATVs are going by now, kicking up all this dust. Yeah, the dust in Quartzsite is really something. And it definitely is impacting my lungs. My work equipment had a layer of dust on it, and then you dust, and then 5 minutes later it's back again, so it almost feels futile to dust. I'm kind of guessing that what happens is that, you know, we as humans are very good at adapting to things, and in fact, in war-torn countries, they say that things become normalized. You know, you adapt and you adjust your lifestyle, even in in the middle of a war zone, and things become normalized, and you just get used to it. And so I have a feeling that's kind of what happens to people that are out here for a while. They adapt and they get used to it, and to them it doesn't seem like any big deal, but they probably are forgetting how it felt in the beginning, and how much it feels like you're really roughing it compared to living in an apartment or a house or whatever, you know. and you just have adapted and you've adjusted and you just deal with it as time goes on. You get used to it. In the beginning it was probably rough for them too, but then they just get used to it and it becomes a way of life. And well, I did cave and I turned on my furnace and I'm trying to unfreeze my hands. It be cold in here. Pretty layered up here, and now I'm starting to feel comfortable. And I've just got my hands warm on the furnace, and I will try to not leave the furnace on for very long. I just wanted to take the chill off. What am I here? Okay, so now I'm up to 49 degrees in here, so that's good. Sorry if it seems like I'm complaining a lot, but I'm just trying to give the realities of boondocking. And I just checked my readout, and in one day I'm already down to 2/3 in my fresh water tank. My, black and gray of course are empty, but the fresh water went down to 2/3 really quickly just from brushing my teeth. And my LP gas, strangely, is showing only 2/3 as well, which is strange because I just got it filled yesterday. My brother told me I should go outside and check if there's some kind of a gauge outside on the actual propane tank, so I'll do that later when it's a little warmer. Yeah, I guess if worst comes to worst, and I have to go empty, I'll just have to leave this spot and go into town and empty. So I'm going to not try to stress about it too much. I just don't want to lose my spot, but leave a chair or something behind. These are some of my cold weather items that I have on hand. This is a tiny little heater. What's this brand? Space heater, PT. It doesn't put out a lot of heat. You have to sit pretty close to it. What is the watts? It uses 250 watts. So I'd have to hook it up to one of my batteries, and then so I'm running down one of my portable batteries that I'm actually needing for my work equipment, which is super important. So I doubt that I would really be using this at all. Not very much. So I don't even know if I should hang on to that. I'll go into my bin. And then I have this Hot Hands product. And then this is a pretty neat product I got off of Amazon. Hand warmers. And they charge via USB. And they're really nice to have in your pockets and stick your hands in your pockets and feel that nice warmth. So I don't know what this brand is. Anyway, just do a search on Amazon called hand warmer. And it's using 7.40 watt hours. So yeah, that's what I have other than all my clothing. There's some of the light situation I have because I'm hesitant to turn on the lights, the overhead lights in the rig. The least amount I can, the better. So I have a Lucy light. I have a reading light, goes around my neck. I've got the fairy lights that are solar, the solar. And then I've got this little lamp that has to be charged up underneath there, USB charge. And then I have this great lamp that I like a lot because it can be charged via solar or USB, and it puts out a very nice light, and you can dim it or make it bright, and it lasts a long time. So this is one of my favorite lights that I have. And I have a couple of more lamps as well. Just got my solar set up. It's pretty windy, so I decided to not try and put the panels on the roof. So I just did them outside here. It's so nice for me to have the option to come inside and get out of the wind. Blew my hair all to hell. It was such a relief to get out of the wind and come inside here. I love it, you know. It's a little sanctuary from the wind. Just going out there to set up my solar panels was blowing me away. I can feel the rig rocking a little bit from the wind. Rock-a-bye baby in the treetop. Okay, here's a little hack for the cold mornings. Got the fan on the furnace going right now, and the stream is going this way, and I put my bra down to get nice and warm like it's coming out of a dryer, and my socks, so they're really yummy to put on when you're freezing. Oops, I better turn off the coffee. Let's see. Yeah, looks like it's done. Okay.
A lot of different people, but it's pretty accurate. It's not for sissies, because if you can't harden off a little bit with all the aches and the pains, you're going to have a tough run.
Well, hello. I'm outside on this nice morning. It's a little bit chill, you know, to where I need to wear my coat, but not too bad. Got to go on a walk. I was kind of inside my rig all day yesterday, working and stuff, and getting a little bit of cabin fever, so I'm going to go out for a walk and enjoy the sights here.
Seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. I've changed for the better this time. I thought I would never be fine. I strive just to say I'm alright, and for the first time in a long time I'm alright. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. keep my head up high through the downs and lows, and we're all going live. Still nobody knows, but I'ma choose what's right and take what comes and goes. And ain't no one in life holding me back no more. I've seen a lot of change, been through a lot of pain. Some things are not the same as they were a year ago, but all will be okay. I move on each and every day. The past is where it stays, way back a year ago. Back a year ago.
I did a study once about ants, and they found that ants are very what was it? It was a study they did about ants, finding that they're pretty community oriented, and they file in a straight line and they travel to their destination. Right now they're kind of all over the place, but you know how you see them going in straight lines, and they arrive to their destinations pretty quickly because they work together. You know, as they're traveling to their destination, they stay in their line. They're not trying to cut each other off. They're not trying to go around another one. They're just working together to get to their destination in a quick way. Whereas humans, if you're on a freeway, you know, there's cars weaving in and out, they're, you know, cutting you off or tailgating you, and so all of that kind of human behavior actually slows us down in general because we're not working together, whereas the ants work together to get to their destination more efficiently and quickly. The intelligence of animal life. I think sometimes they're more intelligent than we are. So I've been having a great time with my brother, as I said in an earlier video. You know, we haven't spent that much time together because he lives up in Idaho. And, you know, I hadn't seen him, and so it's been great to spend a lot of time with him this week. Grateful for this time anyway, that I've gotten to know my brother and get to know him better and stuff. So he's going to take me to the Big Tent RV show tomorrow, and I'm not going to like the big crowds at all, for sure. I want to do it at least once and see what it's all about. I do need a few items as well, so hopefully I can find what I need. My other thing I like is chia seed pudding. So you do a quarter cup of chia seeds. Okay, and then you do a cup of your choice of milk. In my case, I'm going to do coconut milk. Okay. And then I like to add some maple syrup to taste. Which is usually about a tablespoon for me because I love maple syrup. And you can add spices and stuff to this as well, like cinnamon, cardamom, cloves. And then you stir it up. And that's it. I usually wait about 20 minutes and then I stir it again because all the seeds seem to come to the top, so I like to stir it up again to incorporate the seeds. And I like to keep them overnight, and then in the morning it's nice and thick like a pudding consistency. And then I may also add some blueberries to this. I bought some Palo Santo sticks and it smells divine, but it's not like incense that stays lit. It just goes out and can wave it around and smell the delicious smell of it. How do you like my new Polish bubble cup? Isn't that pretty? My favorite color, if you haven't already guessed, is blue. So I just love this design. It's handmade in Poland. Got it off the web. I think the design even on the handle is really pretty. It's just the right size. It was my Christmas gift to myself. I love it.